Series, and we're with the AC Delco Cup. Kim Jane and Terry Wyhoon are going to lead off in race 2. Jim Richards and Max Dumsney are next.
Row 3 will see Neville Lance and Rodney Jane. Row 4, Kevin Schwantz and Gene Cook.
Leading off on row number 5 will be Paul Stocker and Bob Middleton. Jimmy Ellis and Scott March make up row 6.
Row 7 sees Andrew Calvert from Tasmania, Les Kennywell from Sydney, and rounding them out, Ian Thomas.
There he is, gentlemen, Jimmy Richards, the winner of race 1 here at the Goodyear Thunderdome in the AC Delco Cup, looking for another win and taking event honours in regards to the points. The AC Delco Cup, 6 races on the calendar, or 6 events, 12 races. Lights are out off the pace car, and we're racing now.
Well, this is the quick end of the stick. It'll be interesting to see who takes home the money.
60 laps here, and racing's underway. Max Dumsney we're riding with in the Valvoline car, going high outside Terry Wyhoon. He's right up high on the track. He's gone too high. He's lost the car. He has spun it already on the start, and he spun the car around. Great, oh boy. Great footage from the in-car camera, but no doubt George Elliott, Bob Middleton's hit him, and it's banged the camera.
Bad luck for Middleton, but Max, I don't... maybe Max thought he was in a sprint car. He was going to go for the high side.
Quite clearly, look at that on the Repco replay. He's gone right up high, and that's a big move early in the race.
It sure is. It's way up too high. He's up there in the marbles, all that loose rubber. The track's also a little rough up there. A few ruts, and what's happened is that Max's car's bottomed out. It's got all loose in the marbles, and that's it, all over bar the shouting, and I'm sure there's plenty of that going on in that Bob Middleton car.
Poor old Bob's been involved in 2 incidents this weekend, and none of them his fault.
Well, he's torn up 2 race cars in one weekend. That's a fairly expensive weekend. There's Max. He's up in the loose stuff. He's tried to correct the car, but really, once you're into that, you're just a passenger.
And the Valvoline number 5 car comes down, hits Bob Middleton, but we've got Max Dumsney in the pit area with Nathan Prendergast.
What can I say? It certainly was. I mean, first turn on the first lap. Pretty hard to win a 60-lap race on that first corner.
Max Dumsney, former champion here at the Goodyear Thunderdome, back after missing last season. Great to have him back. He will be back again for the next race. No doubt about that on December 27. The pace car is off, lights are out. We're racing yet again. Looking out the back of Kim Jane's car, there's Terry Wyhoon, the BP Car Care car, already pushing for second or first place.
Yeah, right on the back of Kim Jane. There's a great shot of Kim Jane in the turn there, coming through the turn. Look at the determination on his face. Look at the G-forces actually pulling his face a little out of shape.
Looking up into the mirror there, watching where Wyhoon is once he got out onto the back straight. Now comes into the 3rd turn. That's the Auto Pros turn 3 and 4 for the AC Delco Cup cars. There's Ian Thomas up the back of the field. He's starting to make a march through.
Rodney Jane running a good race here. Nice tidy line. Made his move up into the AC Delco Cup cars for the first time this year, and seems to be going quite well with it.
Yeah, Rodney campaigned down in the Oz cars for many, many years, and it's great to see him make the move. Again, looking out the back of Kim Jane at Wyhoon, I saw a bit of a puff of smoke. Might have just been a bit of cooling from the brakes.
Well, either that, or sometimes when they're running in the turn like that, they get a little bit of tyre rub, just hitting the guard, and that throws a puff of smoke out. You know, when you see a car doing that and you're on the racetrack, you're very wary of it, because any time you see smoke on a racetrack, you know it's going to be trouble. But if it's just a little puff as they run through the turn, no, it's just a tyre rubbing and really not anything to worry about.
Richards now down on the inside line of Terry Wyhoon. The Pie Royal No Fear car coming through, as too is the King Coil Auto Pro Ford of Neville Lance.
Neville Lance right up on the back of Jim Richards there, and Richo's just about dragging Neville through with him at that point.
Well, that's what AC Delco Cup racing is all about. Tucking in behind the car in front of you, letting it drag you by. We're riding with Daryl Coon as we go to a break here on the tank. Kim Jane leads from Jimmy Richards and Neville Lance and Terry Wyhoon. A great battle going on in lap 7 of 60, George Elliott.
Well, being a 60-lap race, you know, a pit stop is going to definitely come into play here. It'll be interesting to see just who comes in on the first yellow, and I guess that will depend on when the first yellow comes out. But certainly the guys are definitely going to need another set of tyres to be able to lead this race across the last lap.
Neville Lance and Jim Richards have gone past Kim Jane like progress. Jimmy Richards now leading Lance in second, Waihoon in third.
Yeah, Kim gone back a little there. I don't know whether he's having a little bit of a problem or whether John Sidney has called through to him and said, listen, long way to go, just get off it a little bit and let things cool down.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. 60 laps, long way to go. We're on lap 8. Perhaps it's about conserving tyres and making sure you are ready to pit at the right time.
Yeah, not only conserving the tyres, but there's a lot of things in the car that overheat, and you know, just peeling back and running at 9/10 for a little while certainly does help.
Picking up on lap 15 of 60, Jim Richards still in the lead from Neville Lance. Terry Waihoon and Kim Jane out battling for third spot. Jane goes past Waihoon, and Waihoon now back in the fourth.
Excellent shot from the rear end of Kim Jane's car there. Gives you a little bit of an idea just how fast these guys are going.
Lance now challenging Jimmy Richards. We're on board with Daryl Coon in the Silico Pontiac. Now Lance right on the bumper bar of Richards' No Fear Pie Royal Wattle Spartan car.
Neville Lance really got this Thunderbird going well, and new colour scheme looks great.
Jane concentrating inside his Bob Jane T-Mart Goodyear car. The concentration is intense. We saw a car smoking in the background there. Things look to be okay. Oh, it's Gene Cook, the Ostoil car.
Gene Cook looks like an engine problem there with the amount of smoke that actually initially came out from underneath the car. Gene's slowing now. He's whirling off the racetrack down onto the lower apron. Not even bother going to his pits there. He's blown a motor.
What a shame for Gene Cook. We now have, and that will actually soak up the oil. Kim Jane's come in. He's pitting for tyres, and it looks as though they're going to go for 4.
Yeah, John Sidney team has brought both Kim and Rodney, who is the second car that they're looking after, Rodney Jane there, and putting new tyres on both those cars.
We're back racing the AC Delco Cup race number 2 at round 2 of the Goodyear Thunderdome here at Calder Park Raceway in Melbourne. Jim Richards leads off from Neville Lance and Terry Waihoon on lap 25 of 60.
Well, Jim Richards, Neville Lance and Terry Waihoon all elected to stay out. They'll be gambling on the fact that another yellow will come out, which is when they'll come in and put new tyres on. But Kim Jane having to start from the rear there because he went in and pitted, but he'll soon make that up. He'll come through there and pass those guys like they're tied to a tree with those new tyres on.
Super speedway racing is all about tactics, George, and that is one of the major tactics about when you are going to pit, whether you have kept something up your sleeve or still the other competitors, with the advantages of the yellows, don't necessarily lose anything when they pit if it's happened like it has with Kim Jane.
Well, you know, you do lose positions on the racetrack, Gerald, but when you've got, you know, 40 laps, I think it was, left to run in a race, there's certainly no loss in going and putting new tyres on because the advantage and the extra speed that the new tyres give you far outweigh losing a few spots on the racetrack.
Our lead 4 cars there, Jim Richards, Neville Lance, Terry Waihoon and Kim Jane. Jane is lapping super fast here at the Goodyear Thunderdome at the moment. Jimmy Richards out in front. Waihoon and Lance are challenging now for second. Waihoon goes past and into number 2 in the BP car care car.
Waihoon and Lance, and Richo for that matter, would be definitely feeling the tyre wear now. Where if we look at the car of Kim Jane's, up the inside, round the outside, just about anywhere he wants to put that car is going to go because he's on fresh rubber.
That is the advantage. You see Neville Lance's car, they're starting to develop a little bit after our leader, Jim Richards, the Pie Royal, No Fear number 1 car. The Pontiac heads into turns 1 and 2 at the Goodyear Thunderdome. Down low. We're under yellow at the Goodyear Thunderdome. Down to Nathan.
Warwick De Rose, I was going to ask you about time. They're looking at their watches. I think the car will be coming in. They're checking the time. Obviously, guys, we have a time situation here. But look for the
Pontiac has spun the car around and tapped the wall. And not a position that you like to coming into pit lane. George Elliott.
Well, that was a tough call to stay out under that first yellow. Big gamble. They knew that they definitely had to have a yellow to be able to change tyres. Now, this will give Jimmy an advantage because he will have the fresher of the tyres between himself and Kim Jane. The big question is, how long will the yellow stay out? Will they have time to get their tyres changed and get around and catch the rear of the field. If they're able to do that, his car will definitely be quick enough to get him back to the front before the end of the race.
The No Fear Attack team attacks Jimmy Richards' car, getting all the tyres on. Are they going for 4 or just the outside 2? Just the 2? Is that going to be a problem?
No, I don't think so. I think that, you know, the outside tyres are the ones that wear the most, and if he's able to get the fresh rubber on there, providing he's able to catch the field before the yellows go out on the pace car.
Jim Richards brings that Pie Royal No Fear car up to speed. The Wattle Spartan paint is shining under the lights. It looks fantastic. And lights are out off the pace car. He's got to chase the field down.
Well, they've turned the lights off a little early on that pace car, and I'm sure Richo wouldn't be real pleased about that. But the one good thing is that Richo would have been at race pace, even though he's still well behind where we can see there, but he would have been at race pace when the guys took the green flag. So he has it isn't all lost at this stage.
Still going to have the job ahead of him. He's got to get past 13 or 14 other cars before he gets in the lead. So it's going to be a tough call, but he's trying pretty desperately. And with the Pie Royal car, heads into turns 3 and 4, comes around under Andrew Kelvin. There goes Kim Jane. He's chasing down our current leader, Terry Wyhoon, with the VP car care car.
Well, Terry Wyhoon didn't come in and put new tyres on, interestingly enough. So Terry's going to have a bit of a battle with tyres when it gets a little further into the race. Richo's certainly carving the field up, but don't forget, none of these cars that we're seeing him go past at the moment have come in and put new tyres on board. So they've got tyres that have got 40-odd laps on, and they would certainly have their work cut out for them.
Wyhoon now with Kim Jane right on his back bumper. He's trying to hold him off and at the same time maintain a speed which will keep them ahead of the rest of the field. That's what it's all about.
Well, pretty tough call, you know. Kim's got tyres on there that are probably 20 laps newer than Terry Wyhoon has. But gee, the way that BP car care car is handling on old tyres, there's a lot to be said for how well it's set up. Jane's certainly the man to beat, setting the pace out in front now, looking very comfortable. Richo about to come up, looking for an inside run on Neville Lance.
And you could really start to tell there. The last lap is out, the white flag's out and waving. Kim Jane looks to be able to take a win here tonight. I don't think Jim Richards will be able to catch him. Terry Wyhoon's a bit too far back as well. So Kim Jane looking for another win here at the Goodyear Thunderdome.
Comes across, takes the checkered flag, and Jimmy Richards, well, a few more laps maybe you could have got there.
Our race winner on the Auto Pro scoreboard, the Bob Jane Team Art Goodyear Repco Chevy of Kim Jane. It's got cut short tonight due to time. Now let's talk to Jimmy Richards. For the AC Delco Cup, our scoreboard shows us Kim Jane takes the win, Terry Wyhoon in second, Jim Richards in third, Neville Lance in fourth, and Rodney Jane in fifth.